Brian. There's Paul, Stacy, Steve. Awesome. Okay, you guys, before we get started, I do want to see where everyone's coming from. So just in the chats, I'd love to see just where your city and your states. Where's everyone jumping in? I know it is a Wednesday morning, afternoon for some people. Lunch hour, because we're going to learn all the self-storage things and open up our screen. Bob, what's going on, buddy? There's Bob over there.
I
So good to see
apologize. I've been
you.
among the missing for months, so I'm circling back.
It's okay. We caught you. I was like, we fished, we caught you, we're good. I was like, I'm
Yeah.
so excited to see you. That's awesome. Okay, so we've got Aiken, South Carolina. Oh, I love Aiken. I actually did a deal and storage deal there. Great market. Chaplain Hill. We got Georgia. Stacy's actually used to live in Georgia. Where else? I want to hear if you guys are dropping into the Zoom room, go into the chat. I want this to be interactive. Where are you from? City and states. Love to hear as people are jumping on. And then also just very fascinated, would love to hear, like, are you a first time self-storage owner, an investor, or are you someone who is buying maybe a second facility, third or fourth, experienced or beginner? I want to see so we can kind of gauge just what
First time.
first time. Yes. I love it. Newbie, nice, brand new. Paul, no, we're gonna make it happen. Definitely not a daydreamer. We're action takers. I love it. Okay, beginner, looking to buy first facility. Okay, this is good. We got all sorts as people jump in. Share my screen. We've got a full day, full action item. We're going to be learning a ton of things.
No. No, because you need to start going to the bathroom.
Notes. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Percents. Give me a nice little thumbs up. I want to see the chat right here. Okay. Nice little thumbs up. So we're going to get started. So we're going to talk about, you guys, just the storage deal room. And this is going to be a webinar all about just the fast track and how to buy and how to find and buy your first storage facility and 10 times faster. So I know we just talked about this, but I love interaction. Like I love energy. I'm the person that has 1 cup of coffee and it looks like you've had 10. So I want to see in the chat, you guys, we're going to do the most interactive, like energetic person, you guys, is going to win a free 45-minute session with either me and Stacy. So I want people to engage. We want people to ask questions and really engage here. Okay. So we're going to kind of go through, you guys, the 3 secrets. Okay. So what's in it for you guys? Because it's not about us. I want you guys to come away with some big aha moments. And so secret number 1, Stacy and I are going to go through is like how to find hidden self-storage deals. And it's not what you think. And then secret number 2, we're going to talk about how to negotiate and make an offer to a storage owner. Stacy is actually going to open up her screen. We're going to talk about seller financing, a 3-part offer, and then really how to start that negotiation, especially if it's seller to seller without a broker. And then secret number 3, you guys, is we're going to kind of talk about the storage deal room students. And we've got a few students actually in the past two months that have been closing a lot of deals in Texas, South Carolina. It is a buyer's market. So we will kind of talk about, open up the screen and show you some numbers as well. So with that, would that be helpful? I want to know before we even start, would that be helpful? Let's see. I was like, see if anyone's alive. How many cups of coffee? I know Bob's ready. Drew, I go to the chat. You guys, would that be helpful today just to go through those 3 secrets? Nice. Okay, good. Brian says, sounds good. Bob says, yes, he's ready. Let's do it. So I'm just going to introduce myself and then Stacy's going to talk about just an introduction about her story. And then we're going to jump right in. But my name is Bree Hartman. I'm actually live up in Sacramento, California. And so in the last 5 years, I've acquired over $6 million in self-storage. And so the result from that, you guys, has been not only time freedom with my daughter, but to create a lifestyle by design. And so when I talk about lifestyle by design, a lot of people, kind of envision, okay, time freedom, life options. And that is definitely for me, what really hit home was that you guys, my life didn't start with storage like at all. I was actually just like you. I worked a W-2 job I worked for Fish and Wildlife for about 7 years, spending about probably 50 to 60 hours a week, working for the state. Yes, I did some really awesome things as an environmental science. We did collaring of mountain lions, deer, bighorn sheep, but it was the traditional path, right? So that was going to your cubicle, 5 days a week, and saying my dad's like, hey, Brie, go find a stable job that pays, you a stable amount of money, you get retirement, and that is success. So I want to hear in the chat if that is something that you have went for. Like my dad worked for the same company for 30 years. And so security, yes, feeling secure with what you have, but knowing that you want more, right? So I want to see just in the chat here, who went that traditional path as well, where they are working right now 40 to 50 hours a week for someone else. And they're like, hey, like I want more. Like I want more with real estate. I want more with my family, with my kiddos. Like, and that is really, really that big. If you go through your 5 layers of why, it's like, I want more time to do what I want with who I want, when I want. Yes, I was like, Steve used to. Drew says, I did work for the state. I'm more time freedom now. I work for the state, I have more time freedom now. Tamara's like, I want more for my husband and the kids. No, absolutely. And that was something, for me where I was like, this is great. This is awesome. And everything on paper looks really good, but there's this big need that I want, not only that I can do more, but I want to have slow mornings, like with my girl. And so the big thing that, Stacy and I really bonded on, and it was like, hey, that lifestyle shift, that of like becoming a parent, like parenthood, hashtag parenthood in general. And so when I found out, I was pregnant with my little girl, like on the way, it really, really forced me to rethink my life. I was waking up at 5:30 in the morning, going to my state job. And I really desired that, like having slow mornings with my daughter and really envisioning this life and like, how do we reverse engineer backwards, right? And so, how am I going to build my version of freedom? And everyone's has a different version of freedom. And so that is something that you guys get to put together what feels right for you. And so Kaya is my little storage baby that really, really changed my world. And so that is how we kind of became into finding self-storage was, hey, I want to reverse engineer this pathway and I want to build this version of freedom so that I can have slow mornings and have that life options with her. And so that's how I found storage after one accidental rental, painted every single wall in the house. And I'm like, I will never paint another wall. And so that's kind of led us to, wow, I want to buy self-storage. And my one thing in 2021 was I wanted to go out there and buy a storage facility so that I can not only increase my cash flow, but I can increase my time freedom and my lifestyle. So these are just a few, you guys, storage facilities that we currently own, along with a few others. But the very first one started in Louisiana, a $3.1 million SBA loan. I also have 2 other partners on this deal and property. And then another one that I wanted to show that we bought 6 months later was a smaller one that was $500,000 with seller financing. And this is something that Stacy and I have a really big specialty in is how do we find those good off-market self-storage facilities that you can go out there and talk to the owner about seller financing and make it happen. So you guys just my life, what it looks like. I live in Sacramento, California. I remotely manage all our storage facilities remotely from my home, which I get to dress from, what is it, like the chest up, which is amazing. But for more of this, my big, mantra is like, there is all storage facilities. It's no toilets, there's no tenants, there's no employees, and we have less problems. And it's very, very true. And so that has really afforded me just more time, with my daughter. We get to have slow mornings and location freedom. We go up to Lake Tahoe, which is only an hour and a half away, to go skiing on a Tuesday. This will be my daughter's first year in ski lessons, which is really exciting. And so we have a lot of fun with our kitchen dance parties. And so that to me, and I know a lot of people, if you go through the 5 versions of why, is being able to design your life backwards, right? And so that's why we're here, today to kind of talk about this. So that's a little bit about me. I want to introduce, Stacy Rossetti, and her story is absolutely incredible too.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. So thank you everybody for coming and hanging out with us today. And if you don't know me, then just know that I own 15 storage facilities. I got a lot of tenants. And I got started in storage the same kind of story that Bree has. I was flipping homes from 2010 to 2015, and we did a lot of flips. We did 100 flips in 5 years. That's a lot. And I was running around like a crazy person. And then in the middle of doing 15 flips at the same time, I got pregnant. And so that's kind of what kind of switched. I got like my pregnancy brain, right? And it switched me from being somebody that just wanted to work and just invest in real estate to somebody that really wanted to take care of their child. And so I had a realtor that I was working with. And if you guys remember, I don't know if you remember 2010 to 2015, this was like the best time to be in real estate, honestly. And I had a realtor that basically would find properties for me, and then I would just go out and take a look at them. And we closed, almost 100, facilities together. We did almost 200 transactions together because you buy it and then you sell, right? And and when I told him that I didn't want to flip any houses anymore, he freaked out, right? Because he was working with me. He had just bought a brand new Toyota Tundra. He's like, oh my God, now what are we gonna do? And I told him, I said, just go out and this was like 2015, if you guys remember this. 2015, like to 2020 was when like multifamily started to become really popular. And so he was like, hey, what about multifamily? We can get out there and we can look at some properties and stuff. And I went out and I looked at some properties, but I just didn't want to do the rehabs and stuff anymore. It's just like so big on these rehabs. I was just like over it. And so then he was like, well, why don't you just look at some houses, like maybe buy a portfolio of houses. Another thing is that like of all the transactions that I've done, I am 100% privately funded. Okay, so that means that I don't have any facilities and never done any real estate transactions where I've had to go up to a bank and get a loan. Okay, and this is going to become very important because later in the session, I'm going to go over kind of creative deal structures and how I do that. But essentially, I raised a lot of money and I got a lot of people to give me money and things like this. And that's how I really excelled in this business. But so, my realtor was trying to get me to take the houses that I had, sell them and take that money from the private lenders and roll it into like a portfolio of houses. And I just wasn't into that either. I just was like tired of houses. Luckily, he found a facility that was about 20 minutes away from my house. And it was perfect because at that time I was probably about 6 months pregnant. And this is when I lived in Atlanta, Georgia. I lived in Peachtree City, if anybody knows. And the facility was in Fayetteville, which is about 20 minutes away. And so I drove up to that facility. The facility that I bought, the very first one, it was a disaster, a disaster. And so, I looked at it, it was like, yeah, I could do this because anything that has like horrible money, horrible like, issues and stuff, I always love those. That's what I buy, is I buy mismanaged facilities. So anyways, the point is that, so I bought my very first facility in 2015. I was pregnant with Lillian at the time. We named our facilities Miss Lillian Self Storage. So you can go and you can Google Miss Lillian Self Storage if you want to see my facilities. And then we and then I started like I bought one facility the first year, two the next year, slowly started building up my portfolio. And when Lillian was born, I don't know if you guys remember, but that was when the solar eclipse was. And my husband and I, when we started dating, we had promised that for my birthday, which was my 40th birthday, August 21st was the solar eclipse, which was actually my birthday. I turned 40. And we had promised to go and watch the solar eclipse together. So we bought an RV and then we traveled up to do the solar eclipse and we hung out and we fell in love with the RV, right? And staying in the RV. So we decided to live in an RV is what we did. So we lived in the RV full time for 7 years and traveled around with Lillian. Lillian was born. And then we would just travel to the facilities as we started buying them. And so Lillian grew up from a baby to 7 years old living in this RV. Is an old RV, but we loved it. And ultimately, we managed our storage facilities and lived in this RV full time. And then what happened is I started the acquisitions program. I started hiring all these VAs. And then we started finding a lot of deals, and so I started buying a lot of deals. So I went from like 6 facilities to 15 facilities in just a matter of like 3 years. So at that time we had to like find a place to settle down. So we settled down here in Tallahassee. And then that way all my facilities are Georgia, Florida is kind of where they're at. And we really focused on learning how to syndicate deals, right? Learning how to buy storage facilities and really learning how to manage them properly. So now my schedule, we own 15 storage facilities, and my schedule is I work 1 day a week. I work on Tuesdays, and I manage all 15 facilities 1 day a week. And I just sit here is what I do, just like Bree was saying, that she sits there. And then the rest of the time, I help people buy storage facilities. That's what I'm doing. And so, like when she was talking about lifestyle by design, you can't get any better than that, honestly. I got to travel the country with my family, watch my daughter grow. She's been to all 50 states. We built our portfolio of storage facilities up. And, and I got to just kind of live and do what I wanted, So that is what we're trying to help others. I've been doing this now for 5 years, helping others get into storage, and hopefully that inspires you guys to get into this industry.
Absolutely. And author of a book, you guys definitely go out there on Amazon, right? How to find, fund, and operate storage facilities. So definitely check that out. Awesome,
Yes.
incredible book. But I think a big part that Stacy and I, even talked about, and for our partnership is like, why did we create the Storage Deal Room? And so people kept asking us, like, how are you finding these off-market storage deals? How are your cold callers talking to storage owners? How are you negotiating seller financing deals and actually getting them across like that finish line? And then also, how are you getting storage owners to agree at maybe a $1 million or $3 million evaluation and then a 0% interest? And so this is something that Stacy and I became really, really good at. We're very good at our secret sauce is finding off-market storage deals and then structuring it in a way to create seller financing so that the facility actually cash flows. And then also that it is a value add facility, which means it's mom and pop, and that you can add value to it over time to increase its value. And that is what storage is so incredible and why a lot of people love it, is because there is a lot of these mom and pop owners still here in this market. So our bigger vision, even just together is, we said like, why isn't there a room where, real off market storage deals are happening, and making it more accessible to others? And so we came together and we built it. And so we wanted to kind of like walk you guys through just an introduction about, who we are, what we do, what our goals are and our mission. But really like what Stacy talked about, having that lifestyle by design, still absolutely, W-2 gave me the grit and all those things, but it also caused a little bit of those handcuffs. And so I knew that I wanted more while I had my W-2. And so I was constantly underwriting deals at night, going to webinars, learning, trying to find those people that had already done it ahead of me, and then getting in their, pathway and be asking them the really good questions. And so, instead of that 40 to 50 hours that I was working for someone else, it's like where you're burnt out and you're like, oh, I'm on this wheel. How can we create that for ourselves? Right. And it's true. The burnout is real. And making sure that you create even a storage business the right way. And I was on a owners meeting that Stacy hosts once a month for everyone in our group that has bought a storage facility, and talking about how do we reverse engineer even as a business owner. These are things that we, want to talk about from day one so that we can reverse engineer that to create that future and do it the smart way, not the hard way, moving forward. And so we always talk about like you are one deal away from changing your life. And my first storage facility, while I closed it after 6 weeks after having the baby, changed my life forever. And then once you buy one, you go out there and you buy a second and you buy a third, and then you own 15 of them like Stacy, and so that is the whole goal here, in self-storage. So we're going to jump right into, secret number one, and then we're going to walk through all these pieces and really open up our screen and show you guys this because we want you to show it, see it, and feel it. And so secret number one is we're going to talk about just how to find hidden self-storage deals. Bob knows this a little bit, and we might go into even more detail even further than what you guys have seen. So I do want to talk about, you guys, the truth about on-market deals. Like, yes, there is still good deals out there. You just have to really go through a lot of bad ones. So I wanted to talk about, on-market deals on Crexy and on LoopNet. That is the platform that a lot of people are using. And so brokers do put a lot of deals out there, but right now I want you guys to hear, like, how many people see a lot of on-market deals that are overpriced? Like, I want to know in the chat. Yeah, I was like, how many people are, going through, like at nighttime, like this was me. I was like, watching Disney Channel with my girl, one eye, as I was kind of doing the searching through acquisitions and trying to find even like, what does a good deal look like? How do we even put ourselves in front of these brokers to represent like, hey, I want to buy this facility and what is the right price? So we're seeing a lot of facilities that are 30% overpriced and more. It has gotten a little bit better as we dive into this buyer market. But there is a lot of REITs, right, that are coming into the field and 1031 buyers that are sometimes outbidding a lot of these players on market because it's more competitive, right? So people, our whole goal here is so we show people what the facility is worth so that you never overpay, right? So on market deals, you can find it. It's just a needle in a haystack. You have to really go through the mix and have a good understanding on which ones and where they're priced at based on that certain market. But you guys, the real truth is, the truth is off market deals. That is where people are finding these really good mom and pop self-storage deals. And so we're going to kind of go through a little trick right here of Google Maps and hidden mom and pop storage facilities. And then we're going to take it like 2 steps further. Okay. And this is things that even brokers really don't know how to do. And if they're here, I hope you guys learn it and get some better deals. But you guys, off-market deals is where there's less competition. We have better terms. We can create more seller financing opportunities, and then you can actually get that deal done faster, 10 times faster. So we really are looking for no websites. We're looking for old photos and outdated signs. We're looking for rate gaps where they might have a 10 by 10 priced at $60 and they're so proud. Like, I am the lowest in the market. I'm 100% full. I know Bob knows this. He's probably drooling at that point, right? Like that's a great deal. We want to find those storage facilities. So I wanted to talk about this, and then we're going to kind of go through, these are like the 5 pillars that I'm going to do a demo on right now. And I will open up my screen. I'm going to show you how we find these mom and pop owners. So I just want to see in the chat, making sure everyone's awake. Is that helpful? Would you guys want to find these off market deals and see how we're doing it? Yes. I know I was like stoked on it. Brian says, yes, absolutely, for sure. I know this is some of the big pieces that not a lot of people know about. And they're like, once they see it, they're like, okay, now I get it. That's how you're finding these, storage facilities, mom and pop owners, and then actually calling them and going after it. So number one, we're going to be using Google Maps, which is free. One of the best resources ever. And then number 2, we're going to look at, markets that are anywhere between, 10,000 people all the way to maybe 100, 120,000. And the reason for this population look is like, we're looking for 3rd, 4th tier markets. Like, we are looking on these outskirts of growth. A lot of these urban areas, you guys, are suffering like right now. Some of them are doing decent, but a lot of them are suffering, and people are wanting out of the chaos and kind of they're growing outskirts, at least in Sacramento and a lot of these more metropolitan areas. We have 10,000 homes being built north, south, east, and west of us. It's absolutely insane. And so these are the areas that we really want to focus on. We're also going to focus on no websites or websites that have we're going to focus on storage facilities that have no websites or they are bad websites from 2017 or possibly like GoDaddy with the rotating E, right? So back in the day, there's a lot of mom and pop owners that somehow made it through COVID and they still don't have a website. And you can't actually rent a unit online, even with the AI revolution, right? And then we're also going to look for storage facilities that have less than 4 stars. And that could indicate that that is a mom and pop facility. So those are some of the key pieces I want you guys to keep in mind. I am going to have a quiz question, so make sure you guys are paying attention to go into this. So I want to do a live demo. And so I'm going to open up my screen, but before I do that, I want you guys to engage in the chat. I want to see who has a market. Like I want you to put a city and a state that are between 10,000 people, maybe less than 120,000. And I want to open up my screen and show you where these facilities are. Okay, so please put your one in there. I'm going to take a look at one of those that is in the chat so we can actually do this blind. We love that. Okay, hold on, make sure. Awesome. Okay. Okay, which one looks good, Stacy? Let's see. Fayette County, North Carolina. Google Maps.
Brunswick, Georgia is a good area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's check it out. Who said that? I want to hear so we can in the chat.
I did. I'm Stacy
nice.
Patrick.
Other states
Hello.
spelled exactly the same as mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, spelled the right way.
Spelled the right way.
Okay.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay. And let me open up my screen. Let's see. And so I'm just fascinated, Stacy, just because you're just right there. I can't see you because I'm opening up my screen, but I want to hear
Yes.
why do you like that market? Do you live close by, or like
Well,
why was it?
I live close by. I'm from the area. I grew up here,
Oh, nice.
and I
Okay.
know there are already several storage unit facilities here that do well. And
Okay.
I wonder if there's like a market for more, or if any of those people are trying to get out of the market. I feel like no one's ever wanting to sell is the thing I find.
Yep. And so, no, this is great. And so I love having a little background about it as well. And let's see, do you know the population just off the top of your head?
I know it's over how many? 50, maybe 150,000.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So maybe a little bit higher. We're going to check it out. And if we're going to see if there is some mom and pops in this area. And then we always look at like the corridors. But what you can do, you guys, is you're going to go onto Google Maps and you're actually going to click nearby. It'll have a little quick fact about the city. Sometimes it'll say the population, but I always like to go to the census data. But I'll click nearby here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in self-storage. And so what this pops up now is the Google Map Pack. It's called the Google Map Pack, which is the 5 things that we just went over. But we're looking to make sure that there is no REITs, right? Like we don't want to buy a extra space or a CubeSmart or a public storage. And so if you see sponsored, this is where they're actually paying for ads, and we don't want to play that game, right? We don't want to play to play, or was it pay to play? So we want to look for, number one, like what Stacy and I are really good at is where is a facility, right, that might not have a website or might not be utilizing all the capabilities of these websites. And so in this market right here, just because it's right here on the coast, I kind of know a little bit, there might be a lot of different REITs right here, but this is something that let's go into. So this one has only one review. So we'll pick one. I just want to see if I can find something that tells a better story. Okay, here we go. Highway 17. So do you guys see how there's a website here and not one here? Yeah, give me a nice little nod. Yep. So I am going to click on it. I just want to take a look at this. And so, not the best photo. And then we're going to kind of zoom in. There's Highway 17. And maybe Stacy has been checking this out. I'm going to go into satellite view though. Let's see here. Click here so I can just check it out. So nice on the main highway. And this could be one that just is, they're either building it. So that's perfect. Look at this. So it's they probably have a little business in the front and then storage in the back. But I mean, how many people here would buy that? right? It has no website. It has no way in the 2025 to utilize dynamic pricing or to have an easy automated process to rent online and to market to customers, right? And that's the whole point. So you can drop your little man, you can kind of come in, all the way to the back. But what I would do right here is I would call the number on this Google Maps right here. I would call right now and I bet you anything. I do this all the time in my storage schools. I call them and it goes right to the owner and it's forwarded probably directly to their phone number if they're on site or if they're not on site. But I would buy this one, you guys, in a heartbeat. So has a little bit of land to probably add a little, a couple more RV and boats, but this is a beautiful facility. So that is one facility right there that I would call. And I always we have our acquisition manager call the facility number here first. And then we try to skip trace and find, phone 1, which is normally their cell phone, and then phone 2, right? Another one let's take a look at is 3.8 stars, 24 reviews. Let's take a look at that. So that's a nicer facility next to Walmart. But let's see, Storage by the Sea right here, another example. So this looks like a conversion. I bet you anything, it probably was a conversion. I wonder if it's this one right here. So see how they took a building. This is a really big thing. My goal is to work on a conversion project this year, but they took a local Kmart or a Dollar Tree. You guys, Dollar Tree went out of business. There's a lot of Dollar Trees for sale right now, and they converted it into self-storage to use as a product. Really, really smart. And then let's take a look at any more. Let's see, downtown mini storage. Let's see if I can find one with a bad website. Right here by the dock. There's a facility right here that has no website. So I would call that owner and definitely have a conversation and just see, hey, Mr. Hi, Kevin, are you the owner of Downtown Mini Storage? Right. And he's like, oh, yeah. And you can say, well, hi, I just saw, I know this call might be out of the blue, but I saw your facility and I really liked that it was really close on the main Newcastle streets, right across from a marina. I wanted to check in and just see if you would ever consider an offer on your facility. And then silence and let them answer. And some of the times they'll say no, and that's okay. And some of the times they'll say yes, right? And that is how you build know, like, and trust. And even though they say no, I know Bob knows this. I say, okay, never take no for an answer, right? Bob knows this, and I'll say, okay, well, even if you don't want to, if you don't want to look at an offer now, do you know anyone in this city? I sure know you talk to probably other storage owners. Do you know anyone that you can give me their contacts? Right? Silence. And then that might lead you to another lead. So that is something that Stacy and I really, really talk about in Storage Deal Room and have this done for you. But I wanted to see just in the chat, was that helpful, Stacy? I know the other Stacy in Georgia.
Right. When you're on the phone, if they say no, do you say to them, can I call you in 6 months or 3 months, or how would you like me to follow up?
Absolutely. So Stacy and our acquisition managers, we have an acquisition manager, and then we also have 2 other virtual assistants and other assistants that help call. But what we do is we say, hey, not a problem at all. We ask to get one more reference. And then the second thing we always do is, hey, well, Kyle, great having a conversation with you. I'm not going to bug you, but I just wanted to see, can I get your email address so that I can connect with you in the future and just kind of tell you a little bit about who we are, and then we can check in, 6 months or a year from now. Would you be open to that? And people are nice. Sometimes, they're way nicer in commercial than they are in residential. And most of the time they will say yes. So making sure you gather their email address, because that's a lead that you're going to follow up. And we never take no. No just means no right now. Doesn't mean no in like 2 months, 3 months. Things change, right? Things change, especially if you are in your 70s and your 80s and you're looking to exit, which everyone is always looking to exit if they own a business. So I want to see in the chats, you guys, was that helpful? Stacy, you better be going and calling these facilities in your area like tomorrow. Awesome. Yep. Okay. This is an action step, you guys. Definitely make sure you do. And I want to unshare my screen. And this is something that we yes, we teach and we want to give you all that information. And we also do this for you as well. Because a lot of people, either have time or they have money, right? And so a lot of people are like, well, how do I even start this? Like, how do I even have a conversation? And that's why I wanted to share with you how we even start this conversation. And then also how we get our students to, put out the offers in front of them to get either a yes or a no, and then either move that forward and close that deal. So I'm going to open up my screen, and then Stacy's going to talk about how we actually negotiate, right? And create a 3-part seller financing offer, and then how we put it in front of these storage owners. I want to also see, would that be helpful before we kind of go into it? I want to just gauge if that is something of your interest, because we want to make sure, you guys, that we're, giving you value. We want to make sure that we're hitting on these high points. Is there anything in a storage owner conversation that you guys want to know? I want to hear it in the chat. Go to the chat. I want to see, so we can touch on it in this next section right here. Put it in the chat. I know it takes a couple minutes, so think about it. What are some questions that you want to know about seller financing negotiation that you find interesting, or that no one's really talked about, right? Because you guys, seller financing right now is the cheat code. Off-market deals are the cheat code that people are utilizing, especially right now when off-market deals are 30% overpriced, and it's hard to come by some of these better deals, right? Okay, present.
So, and a couple of people were asking for a script. So if you stayed at the end of the webinar, you will get access. You will be able to get access to my seller call. It's called the seller call script, or a seller call cheat sheet, I guess. I don't know what to call it. But essentially, it's like a 1-page document. And on that document is like where you can kind of put the information of the facility, and then all the questions, like how to start the conversation, kind of the questions on like how to keep the conversation going when you're on the phone. And then on the very bottom, there's like a little table, and the table is like you trying to fill out the information of what you're going to need in order to be able to run deal analysis on the facility. Okay. And so the cheat sheet, if you are interested in it, wait till the very end, and we're going to show you how you can get that as a bonus. Okay. For staying to the end. Okay. You want me to go into the number 2? Okay. All right, so what I was going to go over today is like what happens after you find. So, right, find, fund, and run is kind of the 3-step process that I teach, that I've been teaching. In my book, somebody asked, what's the name of the book? It's called Find Them, Fund Them, Run Them, right? And so, Bree went over finding them, and going on to Google Maps and finding storage facilities is honestly one of the best ways to find storage facilities, because they're just right there. It's so easy. I mean, you could do it yourself. It takes a little time to build up a list and to call owners and stuff, but ultimately it's the best way to find facilities. And it is a buyer's market right now. And I want to reiterate that. I mean, there are a lot of owners that want to sell right now. So if you want to buy a storage facility, your job is not only to find them and do what I'm going to show you right now, which is running deal analysis and making offers, but just make offers. That's your job, right? You want to get to the point where you're making offers. Okay, so let me share my screen. The next step after Bree is basically what we do is we put it into like a folder, a Google Drive folder. I wanted to show you what it looks like here. And so Janet and Laura are 2 of my students, and they met actually within the program. Okay, they did not know each other beforehand, and then they partnered on buying a deal together in Arizona, is where they bought this facility. And so I wanted to open it up, and this information that I'm going to show you here, this is kind of like everything that you need to know in order to make a decision on whether or not you want to put an offer on a facility. That's kind of what I'm going over. So you have the deal analyzer and the executive summary. I'll go over those in just a second. You've got pictures of the facility, you've got the offer letter, you've got population and demographics, and you got some regrid information. Regrid is like the property information, okay? So let me open this up, and then you can see here that we have the OM. I just wanted to quickly, just give you an idea of what you need. So the property information of this facility, and then the unit mix. This is the table that I was talking about that's on the seller call sheet of the information that you need to get from the owners, right? You need to know their unit mix. You need to know their total square footage. And, so you could see here it's 66 units, 9,600 square feet, 6160 and 9,600 plus RV storage. It's a really small town down in South Arizona. And, the population, the satellite imagery of the facility. I wanted to show you what the facility looks like. It's this property right here. It's a big piece of property. And all we did was just call this owner. That's all we did. We found it on Google Maps and called the owner. And then you could see it's like they added, like they started with this and added this, or maybe started with that and added this. I can't remember. But here's the property here. So I just wanted to show you, like, this is the information competitors. There's only one competitor. This is the I'm sorry, there's 3 competitors. This is the information that you want to know in order to make a decision on whether or not you want to put an offer in. Okay. And so you are going to gather that information from the owner. So if you get the cheat sheet, you'll be able to know what to ask. And everything that goes into the deal analyzer is put into the deal analyzer. So if you've never seen a deal analyzer before, like a commercial deal analyzer, don't get freaked out and stuff. Everybody can see it now, right? This is the one that we use internally. And so you could see here, that's a big piece of property, but it's like a small storage facility, okay? And so everything in yellow on our deal analyzer is what you need as an input. All right, inputs are the inputs that you put into the formulas in order to run the deal analysis and get the numbers and stuff. Okay, so you could see here the annual income is 46,440. We asked the owners. That's where we got the number from. Okay, 66 units, 6,100 or 6,160 square feet total square footage, and then the vacancy was at 30%. So when we talked to this owner, they had bought the property, and like they also were flippers and investors and stuff. And this storage facility, like they just were not into it. Like they just decided that they wanted to flip houses instead. So that's why it was 30% vacant. It was because they were too busy just like doing their other stuff. Okay. And so like all this information here, you ask the owner, the property taxes, the utilities, the insurance, and then this is all expenses as well too. Maintenance, staffing, merchant fees, marketing, and your mortgage, okay? So, and when I look at a deal, all right, you're gonna see like when I look at a deal, it's like as is right now, what is it worth? And then like, what is the potential of the property? What is the opportunity of the property? And so this is kind of what you're seeing here based on the inputs that we put in. I'll show you the rest, but this is like the valuation of the property, okay? Another thing is I saw somebody was asking,
Hey guys, quick break before we continue. If you haven't grabbed my book Find, Fund, Run yet, it walks you step by step through how I find, fund, and run Storage Deal, and you'll get my course for free. You can grab your copy by scanning the QR in the screen. Alright, now let's get back to the video.
Bigger markets, like should I look in bigger markets? Bree's saying that we should look in like smaller markets and things like this, okay? So ultimately your job is to do a competitive analysis. All right, because you want to know what are the competitors charging, what have they been charging for the last year up till now, and what is my opportunity? Can I raise rents or not raise rents? And so you look at the competitors is what you do, and you really do that. Now the thing is like bigger markets, like if you live in Nashville or if you live in like wherever, Oklahoma City or something like this, ultimately your competitors are REITs. And you do not want to have a REIT as a competitor. I have facilities where my competitors are REITs, and I'm going to tell you, it ain't fun at all. Because they have the money to spend on marketing. They have the money to do cheap rates. And you don't want to be stressed out about that. Believe me, I'm going to tell you now, right? So we focus on smaller areas, smaller populations, and that's what Bree is trying to explain. Okay. And so, and then there you have some, you can learn, you know, maybe one day you own REITs, I don't know, you know, but like for now, you're just getting started, right? So you can see here, there's 3 facilities, and we are basically looking at the numbers, what they charge, comparing ours to theirs, okay? So when you run deal analysis, you are inputting all the inputs that you get from the owner. You're doing a competitive, and you're putting the unit mix in, this is a little small, but you know, this is how you run deal analysis. You put the unit mix in, you run the competitive analysis. It comes up with a number that's a price per square foot as is right now. And it comes up with a number that is your opportunity price per square foot. When you're thinking of storage, everything is price per square foot and what's your total square footage? All right, that's like the lingo, okay? And so you can see here 89 cents a square foot, and it can get to 92 cents a square foot. That's what we're looking at, okay? And then, so now you've got the square foot, and that number actually goes right here. So you can see 90 cents to 92 cents, right? So on this facility, there's not a lot of like upside. It's an income producing property. It doesn't matter if you want income producing or mismanaged. The girls that bought this, they wanted like some cash flow is what they wanted, right? And they didn't want to do any work, okay? They just want to like get some cash flow. So that's why they liked this facility. So this facility here, what you're going to do is you're going to, the next step after you do your inputs and your competitive analysis is you come up with your financial inputs. Okay. So typically in the industry, you're going to send over one offer with an LOI. Okay. So ultimately I teach, and I know Bree teaches this as well, is that you want to get the wheels turning on the owner's brain, thinking, oh, well, there's actually other ways for me to sell this property outside of just selling it like one way. All right. So this is where creative deal structures comes in. And so you can see here that we ran our numbers as a cash offer. We have 3 seller financing offers and then like a bank offer. Okay. So from the inputs that we have on the input sheet, we add our price here and we come up with our price. All right. We put our down payment in. How much money can we come up for a down payment? We come up with an interest rate, right? The bank, we're running our numbers here at 30% down and 8% interest. This was in the beginning of the year. That's what the interest rates were, right? And you want to run your numbers on these loan inputs, right? Down payment, interest rate, term of the loan, balloon, all right? And then amortization. And honestly, there's a million different ways for you to run these numbers. If you can only come up with X amount of dollars, you run your numbers on that. If the owner wants X amount of dollars per month, if they say, look, I'll seller finance this to you, but I need to make $5,000 a month to do that, then you run your numbers based on the monthly payment. Like we have an owner right now that we just met with last week, and it's quite a big facility. It's about a $3 million facility. And the owner's willing to sell or finance just as long as they get a certain number in a down payment. That's what they want. And so when you're talking to the owners, this is what you're gathering from them. And this is the best part about talking to owners directly, not going through a broker, not going through a wholesaler. Talking to the owners directly is where you get that connection with the owner. You start learning their stories and you start learning what they want. And then you create a deal based on what they want and what can work for you as well too. So you're creating this win-win situation. Okay. So that is what this is what our deal analyzer does, is what we utilize for and use it for. And you can see here that the offers for this property were at $430 cash and $500,000 owner financed. Okay. And you can see we have a cash on cash return based on what we put in, anywhere from 10 to 28% or to 26%.
And then Stacy, let me make it really fun. So this is a real live deal, you guys, that one of Stacy's students purchased. And so what she's saying is that all 4 of these offers work, right? For us in negotiation, like when we put this in front of the table, all of these work. Now it's just, now you're giving the owner their opportunity to pick which one so they feel like they're in control. This is negotiation, right?
Yes.
Stacy uncovered motivation. Now we've had multiple conversations with the owner to show them this. We've learned who they are, their needs are, their wants, and they've uncovered, like we've uncovered kind of like kind of in motivation, we uncovered their story. And now all of these offers work for us because we created them. Now they get to choose which one, and then we kind of walk through it from there. So in the chat, which one do you think they picked? And I want to
Okay,
see.
good. Yeah. And then real fast too,
Good.
as you can see here, like we put, if I change the price to 600 grand, it comes red. Red is like, no, you can't do this deal because it ain't going to work. Right. Especially with the bank financing stuff. So I just want to let you know that, green is like, green is yes, this is a good deal. And so you sit here and you play with the numbers until you come up with a really good scenario that you can offer. So we sent this, so we inputted this information into here. We looked at the cash flow of the properties. You look at, okay, what can I come up with? Is it going to work? Right now. So you can see here, like when they buy it, they're red, like because they're buying it and then they have to stabilize the property, right? And then they're taking it to green. So they're making $617 a month, and then they're taking it to like $2,000 is what it is. Okay. So that's like how you look at the deals. And so we're looking at the cash flow, and then we make the offer. The offer is right in our deal analyzer, but essentially this is basically what we sent over, this offer, at 430 cash and 500 seller finance. Which one do you think they picked? What do you think? 1, 2, or 3? What's everybody guessing? Or sorry, 1, 2, or 3, or the cash offer?
Go to the chat, you guys. I want to see which one. There's no right or wrong answer. You guys,
Yeah.
it's no trick
What would you
answer.
pick?
Yeah.
All right, and just real fast, the inputs again, so we could click back to that, is it's making $46,000 a month. I'm sorry, $46,000 a year, 66 units and 6,000 square feet-ish is what it is, okay?
Go to
So,
the chat, you guys. I want to hear a couple more people. Paul said number 3. Drew said number 3. You guys, a couple more people. Give you a couple more seconds. I know it takes some time. Just pull what you think is the best one that you think. There's no right or wrong. Awesome.
so in the end, the owner accepted 10% down. That's it, 10% down. That's all they care about is like making a little bit more money on the back end, and they were okay with taking a little money up on the front end. All right. And all we had to do was just talk to them. And another thing that we did too is they flew out and met the owners. So that, and then that really solidified this deal, really, so, and they live, like Laura lives in Oregon and Janet lives in Washington, and they're managing this facility. So they closed it and they're managing this facility. 2 strangers bought a facility together and they're now managing the facility together. Okay. So I want to make sure that I just reiterate that, calling owners is the best way to find facilities. All right. And then it's a buyer's market. So please make offers, make as many offers as you can. It's a numbers game. And then make creative deal structure offers, because right now buyers are open to this. All right. So practicing these techniques and doing this over and over again is what we're seeing internally inside of our programs. And you guys should be doing as well too.
And just really quickly before we go into secret number 3, you guys, we'll talk more about this in the Q&A, but why it is a buyer's market, you guys, and why, like what we've seen in the past 4 months, you guys, we've seen more storage owners in the past 4 months raise their hand and want offers. And the reason why is people have been waiting, you guys, for the past 24 months. It has been a real stagnant in acquisitions. A lot of people are nervous, right, about what to do. And so storage owners in that beginning time period, the past 2 years, really stopped. They're like, I'm going to wait. So now they've waited 2 extra years when they wanted to retire, right? And yeah, we might have had like 0.25, percent down a little bit. Things are starting to trend down. But what that means is that people are like, you know what? this is my time. I want to, I want to go retire. I've owned this for 18 years. Like we have one right now that we talked to last week. He's a police officer. This is a perfect Tennessee deal that we're giving to our storage deal room students. And it's seller financing around about $500,000. And this police officer, his dad died. He owned it for 20 years. He built it. It's on 2 extra acres and a beautiful highway. And he's like, yeah, I'll do seller financing because they own it outright. And he just wants to sell. He's like, I'm a police officer. I love my job. And I just would like to get the money. Right. So there's a lot of these facilities right now that are out there. And we have like around 20 to 21 of these owners that need offers in our storage deal room. We have too many actually offers going in right now versus buyers. And so we don't want to go too far into that. We'll go more in the Q&A, but we just wanted to let you know it is a buyer's market. People are wanting offers. And as you guys, this inverse relationship, think about it, right? As rates start to go down, what happens is that we're in this really nice period is that interest rates go down, the floodgates open, right? And this is really higher competition. So because credit unions, all these different areas can now, you can get a commercial loan, but you have to put 35% down versus 10. What would you want, right? So just think about it. That is why, we have a lot of, Stacy and I talk about this urgency of like, it's a buy time. It's talking about, talking to storage owners, getting people to raise their hand and then putting offers on the table instead of just learn. It's let's put good offers out there and start making things happen. So we're going to kind of just go into you guys secret number 3, but you guys, this is such important things and to understand in the deal process. And wanting you guys to see what we do on the inside of it and what we're doing right now to get deals across the finish line. So we're going to go into you guys secret number 3. Oops, not copy, present. There we go. And we're going to kind of talk about what are some of these deals that our students are closing on and how are they doing it, right? And so this is John. He is, I know Bob knows him. He is in Texas. He is a firefighter, you guys. He's 45 and he's like, Bree, I want to buy a storage facility. And what was so great about him, he's like, I just want to start taking action. And so, within 4-6 weeks, he was talking to owners. He was having conversations and he's like, hey, I've passed this storage facility every day on my 1.5-hour commute to my station. And he picked up the phone, had a conversation with this storage owner. And he was like, hey, would you consider an offer? And the storage owner was like, yeah, actually, I would. And so what John did was he went to the facility. We said, hey, go meet him, go shake his hand, take him to lunch. And that's exactly what he did. His next day off from his shift, he drove 1.5 hours up to this facility and he took the owner out to lunch and got to know, like, and trust him. And then the owner was like, well, hey, how about I sell you my facility? And then I also know the storage owner down the street. I think he would be interested in selling his too. So John actually bought 2 storage facilities, you guys. And what was so awesome about this, he put around $35,000 of his own money and his fire captain put in $150K. So I just wanted to show you that when you talk about storage to family and friends, you guys on these holiday weekends that we're going to start having Thanksgiving, all these family events, people want to invest in storage. They love this asset class. And he had someone come in and put the majority of the money in for this facility, 2 facilities. So now he closed these facilities about, a month ago. He owns 2 facilities, 1.5 hours from where he lives, near his fire station. And the best part about this is that we'll show you his numbers, but he talked to me and he's like, you know what? I actually got to talk to my family about we're on the right pathway at 45 to financial freedom, right? So he's like, I never thought I'd be able to purchase a facility. And then my whole goal and what really got me, and he started tearing up, is he's like, hey, I want to retire my wife. Like, that is my goal at 45. She's a nurse. We have 2 kids. She's worked her whole entire life really, really hard. Like, I want to do this for her. But the special part about John is, we always like to say, like I always say, I'm not the smartest one in the shed always, but I'm the action taker. And so John was someone who was like, I'm sick of talking about all the storage facilities and all these things that I have to learn. Like, I'm going to go out there and do it, cause problems and bring them back to Stacy and I, and then we help you solve them. Right. So I wanted to kind of just talk a little bit about his story. So currently he owns 2 facilities in the smaller Texas market, you guys. He will monopolize this market. He's going to go buy 2 other facilities around a 10-mile radius, and he'll be the price leader. He bought it for $600K, both of them for $600K. They will be worth in 24 months, you guys, 1.1 million at a 7.5 cap. Who would do this deal with 35K out of his only 35K out of his pocket? I want to know. I want to hear it in the chat. Like, who would do that deal? You guys, that's over, 450K to 500K that you can pocket and then go 1031 to something bigger and better, right? I better see everyone in the chat. I can't see the chat. There we go. Ricardo's like all day long. And that's just in 24 months. That's the power of commercial real estate in addition to the cash flow that they will receive. Obviously, this is an example of one of our students. And then I want Stacy to also talk about Linda, who did absolutely the same thing, but even more incredible story.
So I saw somebody that asked a question. I just want to make sure I answer it because it's kind of a bit. So he's saying, this is Michael Jones. He said, so you're saying these deals start out as negative cash flow. But I mean, honestly, the truth is there's no like one storage facility that's like another facility. All right. So like you have like mismanaged facilities that you may have to come out of pocket on, and you've got income producing properties. You got conversions like Bree showed and stuff. So like there's every type of like facility and every type of way of making money that's available. Okay. So, don't think there's just one way to do anything. Now, she's retired in her 60s. I think she had turned 67. She retired. She'd saved up a couple $100,000 for retirement. She lived in California. She lived in San Diego. And she wanted to buy something that could bring some cash flow in for her. And so, and she's a single lady. And so she came in and joined us. And then she started looking at all these deals. We showed her a lot of deals and put a lot of offers in, but ultimately this is the one that she ended up with. So this is in Texas, like near Abilene is where it's at. It's kind of a little town right outside of Abilene. And the owner lived in Dallas, and he was an insurance guy, had like this big, huge insurance practice. And he really was like focusing on that, and he was not focusing on the storage facility. And so we ended up having a meeting with him, and then she flew out, she met the owner. And it's a smaller facility. I think it's like, I can't remember how many, maybe it's the same size as the one that we just looked at. But and so she went out there and she met the owner, and he loved her. And so what happened is she made an offer like right then and there. She's like, look, what about 200 grand for this thing? And it was roughly around 10,000 square feet. I mean, it's a big facility, honestly. And it also has another piece of land on the back end that he ended up just throwing in for free. And so she got this 10,000 square foot facility for 200 grand. I think it was like 225 is what they ended up with. And he seller financed it to her. And all he asked for was just 10% down. So she only had to come up with $20,000 to buy the storage facility. And so like now what she does, she bought an RV, like one of those little tiny RVs she could drive. And she drives like every once in a while, she'll go check on her facility and go hang out in her RV. And the storage itself, she cleaned up, and then she got it all leased up. And that took, a good couple of months to do that, figure it out and stuff. And then the property in the back, which the owner gave her for free, because he didn't want anything to do with it. He didn't want to pay taxes or anything. It was just like, people were using it as a dumping ground. So she cleaned it up, and she bush hogged it. She got somebody to bush hog it and clean it up. And then she started doing RV parking. And so now she has the storage in the front, and then behind it, she has the RV parking. And I mean, she's a retired woman that's managing this facility. She answers the phones herself. It keeps her busy. She loves managing this thing, honestly. And I mean, she got a maybe a $600,000 facility for 200 grand. And she probably put maybe 50 grand in it, something like this, to clean it up or whatever. And then she just has this for her, like, safety net. is what it is. So yeah, so she got this for three, she got it and she put money into it. And, I just got her P&L and her balance sheet from her, and I'm going to meet with her next week and go over her numbers and just make sure she's running it properly and stuff. And she's so excited because she's filling up her RV park right now that she got the land for free on. So that is Linda, one of the many, many students. Yeah, doing great.
Awesome. No, that's super neat. And so I just wanted to kind of like walk you guys through as like the final takeaways, as we want you guys to come away with some big like aha moments. Like that's what Stacy and I really care about. And so, I know number one, we talked about like hidden off market deals. So going on Google Maps, you better go out there, you guys, and do that in your market of choice. See what mom and pops are out there because there's so many of them. And then number two, you guys, is the negotiations and the three-part offers. Stacy talked about is crafting those three-part offers. You guys, seller financing is the cheat code. Putting 4 to 5 of these offers on the table instead of just one gives you an opportunity to build your know, like, and trust with the seller and with the broker. You can also do this with a broker, but it's putting that together. It's a pre-packaged, right? And then number three, you guys, we wanted to show you some of the students that are closing deals right now. Like we don't just talk about it. Stacy and I are all about action, and showing you guys, the inside of what is happening, why it's a buyer's market, and how to take advantage of this time, so that you guys can go out there and do it 10 times faster. So I want to see in the chat, if you guys can go to the chat right now, what is you guys just one thing that you learned tonight? I want to hear in the chat. And it could just be one simple thing that you're like, wow, that really changed my mindset, or I really appreciated how you did X. I want to see in the chat just what is one big aha moment, because the more we put this out there to the world, right, the more you're going to take action and do it. But even to jog your memory, it's always about coming around full circle and then going out there and doing it. Using the maps. Steve said using the maps. Drew said finding off market deals on Google. Rebecca's like finding deals off market. Absolutely. Anything else you guys I want to hear in the chat, go to the chat. Don't be shy. We want to know. Action takers, all about it. Google Maps for off-market pricing. Michael said didn't answer one question. So deals are starting out with negative cash flow. So Michael, we'll talk about this in our Q&A, but this is something that's important. Is Stacy said that just really quickly is that you buy, right? You can buy with maybe a 4 to 5% return on your money, knowing there's a pathway, right? There's money on the table. There's a value to be had so that you can implement it. So even though you're buying at what it's worth today, it might only be a 5% return. But Stacy and our students know there is a pathway to buy it at, 200,000 or 500 or 600K, like our students. And there's a pathway to that 1.1 million, right? That's what people are not thinking about. We have to look at what is it worth today based on its gross income of what it's producing, not the future. And then what could it be worth in 3 to 5 years if we buy it and implement our business plan. And that's exactly what Stacy and I, teach. So that is why creative offers are so important, is that we know that, right? Now we get to calculate it and put it into a perspective so that the owner can say yes or no to that offer. Awesome. Okay. So what we wanted to see is like, would this be helpful, you guys, to have someone like Stacy and I like in your corner to put together these seller financing offers, to kind of walk you guys through some storage owner conversations. I want to see in the chat, right? Yes, in the chat, you guys, if it would be helpful, if you want to buy your first facility in the next 12 months, and if it would be helpful to have, a 3-part or 4-part offer written out for you. Nice. Brian said yes. Amanda says yes. Because sometimes it's like the first couple offers are sometimes the most scary, pieces, is like pulling the trigger. I saw someone in the chat talk about analysis paralysis, when to say yes, when to say no, and then when to, put that offer in. Stacy and I talked to a student the other day and I said 1.9 is way too high. They wanted 1.9, they wouldn't budge. I said, they'll come back to us, put in that 1.75, they'll come back to us. And then literally we heard today, they're like, hey, we would like to have a conversation, right? So that is something that Stacy and I are very good at, is saying yes, no, and a number, and teaching you guys to do that. So we wanted to introduce to you guys the storage deal room. And this is where Stacy and I have partnered together to find, fund, buy, and operate storage facilities. And so, this is something that has not ever been done before, but it is an off market, you guys. The storage deal room, gives you that unfair advantage. It is where we are finding these off-market storage deals. We are putting together an OM, just like a broker, but we're putting it together with the demographic data, and then we're putting it into a 3-part offer so that you get to say yes, no, or an offer, in addition to helping book those storage owner meetings so that you come with either me or an acquisition manager and have an expert in your corner. And so this is something that, will help you guys buy your first facility 10 times faster. Yeah, you can go and search on LoopNet and Crexi and do all that, but it can take you 12 to 24 months to buy your first facility. So we'll talk a little bit more about the storage deal room, but we start November 6th. You guys, it is a 12-month acquisition program where we deliver to you guys off-market storage deals on a silver platter. We are capping this at 5 seats right now because we do have around 21 storage deals. We want to make sure that everyone is, well seated with 3 to 5 good, facilities so that they're putting offers in. Okay. So what this looks like and how it works is we're going to kind of go through the 4 pieces to it. And then Stacy's going to kind of talk about some of these pillars. But you guys, step 1 is we have our acquisition manager, and then we also have a virtual assistant team. Stacy has been doing this, you guys, for 4 years, and this is how she's found, 15 of her facilities have all been from off-market deals, as well as mine. Mine's been from off-market as well as wholesalers. But our step 1 is our team finds these mom and pop storage deals. So instead of you cold calling and doing it yourself, which you totally can, we actually start to understand, like, what is your buy box, right? And we build out campaigns where our cold callers will call the storage facilities and see who raises their hands. And then we start to step 2 is we build your deal package. So we have too many actually deals right now, but we have a lot of people raising their hand. And what we do for you who want offers is we actually build you an OM, offer memorandum, just what a broker does. That puts it into a beautiful, nice little demographic cheat sheet. And then we also put all the financial numbers into a deal analyzer, right? And then into that 3-part seller financing calculator so that you guys can say yes, no, or a number. It's absolutely up to you. You guys have to tell us, right? And then step 3 is we set up a seller negotiating meeting with you, the storage owner, an acquisition expert, or ourselves, right? And so we help facilitate that negotiation so that you guys can actually close that deal. A lot of people come to the table in off-market deals by themselves. They're not, their job might be tech and they're not sure how to negotiate. And so we want to make sure that this deal does not fall apart and that we actually put a real number out there, and we safeguard you from overpaying, which is a really important piece because a lot of people get excited in negotiations versus we got to stick to our guts so that we aren't belly up and then we're not negative, right? In the future, we only want to buy good storage deals. And then you guys, step number 4 is we help negotiate and close these deals for you and help you get it to the finish line so that you can go do your due diligence and start operations, your 30, 60, 90-day operation plan. Okay. So you don't have to do this alone. A lot of people, are like, hey, where do I even start? How do I know it's a good deal? Having someone in your corner that has done multiple, deals is something that is going to not only help you buy your first facility, but buy a good cash flowing facility that helps you safeguard from risk 3 to 5 years later. Okay. How many people would say that, like, would that be helpful, for you guys?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, no, hands down. I was like, yes, Bob. And that's something that, like I always talk about, I paid $100,000, you guys, to a wholesaler. And I looked at, I would say like hundreds of deals. I underwrote 2 deals a day, I feel like, for 9 months. And so being able to, really have someone on your team presenting you 3 to 5 good offers, every single week, and then you guys going through and making sure that you say yes, no, or an offer can really speed up that process so that you're getting off-market deals sent to you. So Stacy's going to kind of go over some of these pillars right now as well. And then what we'll do is a Q&A at the end.
Okay. So I think Bree kind of went over it, but finding deals, finding owners that want to talk to you is really the hardest part of the equation, right? And finding the owner that would actually have a discussion, give you the information that you need in order to run deal analysis. I call this the dirty work, is what I call it. And so what happened is that really I didn't want to do the dirty work anymore, just like Bree. And so I hired a virtual assistant to help me do all this work, build the list, call the owners, and then actually find hidden facilities that are not even on Google Maps, and really build out that list as well too. And then start calling and talking to the owners, and then having to train that person that's calling the owner to be able to actually have a connection with the owner. And being good on the phone and stuff. I mean, that's really the process. And it's not easy. And over the course of the last 4 years, I have just gotten really, really good at finding facilities that are off market and talking to owners directly, and then introducing the student to the owner, being there with them and creating that connection so that the student feels confident enough to be able to ask the questions that they need to ask, and then also even maybe go out and meet the owner face to face. So that's really kind of what the first one is really finding those owners that want to work with you and creating that connection, right? And then we go through, do you want to talk about this one, or do you want me to talk about it, Bree? I talk about it. Okay. All right. So, and then after we find the owner and we contact them, and honestly, this for us, like the easy part now, but like once we find the owner and contact them, we set up a meeting with the owner. It's a virtual meeting, and we introduce ourselves face to face with the owner, and we start just creating that connection. And we hear their story, just like I said with, Laura and Janet, or with Linda, or whoever it is. We're hearing these stories of what these owners want. And then we are coming up with offers on that will work with them and also work with us. So we're creating a win-win situation, coming up with these offers together. And then we are helping to submit the offer. All right. And it sounds easy, but it's really not. Honestly, it's a lot of work. I call it the dirty work to get to the point where you actually have a facility under contract. Is the hardest part of owning a storage facility. Okay. And most people give up because you have to put a lot of offers in. You have to meet a lot of owners. You have to do the dirty work in order to find that facility. And so that is why I decided to start the acquisitions program. And to do the acquisitions program is because I could see students really struggling with this. And it's just not, I've never really struggled with that. That's why I have 15 facilities, because I just buy everything, right? So ultimately, that is what the Storage Deal Room does. Is that the hardest part of the equation is where we can help you make it as easy as it possibly can. Right? And help you build that confidence up so that you can feel confident to talk to the owners, ask the questions, meet them face to face, go to the facility, this kind of stuff. And that's where Bree and I are holding your hand and, walking you through, giving you a thumbs up, walking you through. You don't put the offer in. A lot of people, they just want that thumbs up. Yes, this is a good offer. And after a couple of times, you're starting to click.
And that's
so that's the process. That's us helping getting the facility under contract. That's obviously the first part and the hardest part. But then after you get it under contract, there's a lot more work to do, but it's really not it's not difficult. It's not stressful.
And, Stacy nailed that, and pillar number 3 that we do, you also, for you is a pre-analyzed deal package. So, every deal with the storage owner that's highly motivated, it's like, hey, I want an offer, right? We're putting that all together. We're getting all the financial information, because a lot of people don't know, like, what a good deal looks like. And then also, what do we need to ask, right, from the owner in order to put this into our deal analyzer? So we gather all that hard work, like what Stacy talked about, is we gather all that information, and we even do, you guys, a supply and demand matrix. Most people don't even teach this how to do it. You can pay someone $1,000 to get a feasibility study, but we actually do this for you. It's all included. And we teach you how to look at a market and say, is this oversupplied or undersupplied? And then also, hey, what money is left on the table? And that was something that I think someone had that comment about, is that negative money. That is where we show you, being both of us as owners and operators, we show you where this hidden money on the table is and how you need to extract it as an investor and then structure it the correct way so that you guys can profit from it in 3 to 5 years or longer, however your business model extends at, right? So putting these all on the table so that you guys can say, you guys, yes, no, or a number, and into this offer cheat sheet so that you can come to the table as, you know, we always say as a business partner, right? So that we can make this and solidify it to get it to the finish line. And then the last little pillar, you guys, is, you know, having Stacy and I as an expert negotiator in your corner. This is something that we love doing. Like it's our secret sauce, both of us. I love to negotiate, talk with sellers, and it's really about getting to know their motivation and then also how you can solve their problem, right? Relationships, it's a long-term relationships with long-term people. Real estate, even storage, commercial real estate is a relationship game. And both Stacy and I say, go the extra mile. How do you go the extra mile so that you get these deals and not someone else, right? There's brokers calling these people all day long. And Stacy and I talk about this. How can you be different? So we set you guys up for that to have success, right? So that you don't look like you are a newbie, and so that you don't lose these deals. You know, we want to make sure that you are set up for success and that you're looking through all these different corners and cobwebs to finalize it at the expert end. Okay. So those are the 4 different pillars. And then Stacy's going to talk about Laura, and then we'll open this up a little bit at the end with Q&A.
Well, I went over Laura and Janet's deal that they partnered on together. So you guys have an idea of how that worked out. And, you know, another thing about coming into the storage deal room is that you're going to have access to everybody in the storage deal room. And like, you'll be able to partner with them, meet people in the community. And one thing I notice about the storage industry is that everybody's really an island. You know, they kind of just do their own thing and stuff. And so ultimately, when you get in, you'll be able to partner with students. You'll be able to meet everybody else and, you know, come up with, get deals done together. And, so that's something that I think, is really valuable within a storage deal room.
Absolutely. And, you know, this is, I always talk about, you know, it takes, you know, one storage facility, you guys, to change your life, to buy back your time. And that's our goal, you know, especially even the storage deal room is, okay, go out there, buy that one. Okay, now go out there and buy another one. Stacy and I have a lot of urgency, you know, and so for us, it's not education, it's a do it, done for you program, where we're out there saying, okay, Bob, right? What did you do this week? Hey, did you submit some offers? Like, we want to come to the table with you and submit these offers so that you guys can actually get a deal under contract. We talk about these things, and yes, we do put that education piece out there, but we are very much like, hey, it's there on the table for you. We want to close 10 times faster, and it's the urgency, the accountability in order to do it, right? So that's something that we both are very big advocates for you, is like the storage deal room, you guys, is a place where it's done for you. It's off-market deals done for you. And yeah, as a DIY, like, yes, absolutely. You can go out there, cold call all the owners, and it might take you 9 to 18 months to close a storage deal. You can go out there and read all the books, do all the YouTube University, but you guys, that is very passive education versus taking the action, going out there like John did to buy 2 facilities, is go out there, mess it up, build relationships, bring back your problems, and we give you these deals as well. So done for you on a silver platter so that you can 10 times your, you know, how fast you actually buy your first one, and then you go on and buy the second and third, and then soon you're like Stacy, who has all 15 of them, which is awesome. So you know, there's most people, you guys, that, you know, like I always say, and I'm not shameful of this, my first deal I paid a wholesaler, you guys, $100,000. This guy made $100,000 off me, which I am totally fine with, but at the same time, you know, I wasn't given an opportunity of all these deals, right, to pick from. Louisiana, never thought I'd buy a facility in Louisiana, but it definitely pencils and it works, and it's a great facility for us. But Louisiana wouldn't be the first state that I would have picked, right? But again, I was fine with paying $100,000 because he gave me a good deal. And so Stacy and I are doing this for you, you guys, and the people who have power are the people who have the deals. I talk about this with Bob and a few other people here, I think Anne, but you have the power. If you have a good off-market storage deal, and you bring it to someone on the table, you can actually carve off a little bit of that equity, just like John did. Go get some family and friends, right, that have money and are in tech or doctors, and help leverage that, right? Or partner with other people even in the storage deal room to do those deals. So even in, it's like education, university, I know a lot of new, students, 18-year-olds go out there and spend, 30 to 50K on an education, and praying, right, times 4 as a parent, that they're going to get, a 6-figure salary right out of the gate. Nothing is guaranteed, but it is the people you surround yourself with and the tenacity that you go out there and you do it. You find the people. So we're very open, Stacy and I. A lot of people don't share their pricing, but this is what the storage deal room is worth, and this is what the price is. So our regular price is $25K. We are bringing on only 5 people as the co-founders. And so for that, you guys, it is a $20K full 12-month acquisition program where we bring you guys, 3 to 5 good deals. And you are the ones that get to say yes, no, and an offer. The whole goal, you guys, to this is not only just buying one, it's buying multiple. So I want you guys to know if that is something that, is that's a goal of yours. That is something that we really put that towards, is in these 12 months, you're going to go out there and buy not only one, but buy 2, right? Or 3 or 4, however you want to do it. So it is $20K pay in full, or you can do a payment plan, which is $10K you guys up front, and then it's just 4 payments of $3,000. You guys will be, the co-founders. It is going to go up as we add value to, the storage deal room, and as we continue to build it out, because we know that absolutely there is a need. And so the really quick, like fast action bonus, for the first 5 people, you guys that apply, we already have 2 people in right now, but if you guys apply, and you will receive, these bonuses, it's the $5,000 discount for the storage deal room. And then also you're going to get one-on-one session, coaching session with Stacy and I. So you're going to get an additional bonus you can use whenever you want, as well as Stacy's proven seller call sheet, in addition to our due diligence checklist. Okay. So this is a 48-hour bonus, you guys. Once we hit 5, students, we are going to kind of like cap it at that point, because we want to make sure that we have a lot of good deals for you guys, especially because we've been doing this, you guys, we've been doing acquisitions for 4 months already. So we have like 21 or more deals in our pipeline right now that need offers. We're like, we either going to need offers, or are going to have to go, buy them ourselves. So we have way more deals than we do buyers at this point. And so you guys are going to be set up very, very well. So again, you guys can apply now. We don't, just take anyone. We want to make sure it is a good fit. So we want to have a conversation with you. So we do start November 6th. We will get you started, on our acquisition. We have a 4-week workshop where we will go over underwriting, where we will go over the foundations, how you are going to work with your acquisition manager, and then how you're going to work with us in negotiation. Okay. So you can apply right here. And I believe Tin also put the link in the chat, but we want to have a conversation with you. We are only being very selective of the 5 people that come into our program. And so just make sure to answer the questions, and then check your email we have a video, and then we'll book a call with us. So you don't get a salesperson, you're going to get us when we get on the call, because we are putting this together, we're partnering on this, and we're really, not only thrilled, we just know that this is going to change the industry and how people buy their deals 10 times faster. And so we wanted to make sure you guys see that, the $20K, yes, you are investing your $20K, but it's not a program that you're going to be educated, right? I mean, like that, a lot of people are just like, oh, you're buying the courses. No, you're buying the courses, plus we are going to give you deals. We're doing it for you, right? So that we're doing the grunt work out there of cold calling, getting owners to raise their hand, helping you through the negotiation. And then, every quarter, Stacy and I meet with you as an operation meeting to make sure that you're doing what you say you're going to do. because a lot of business owners bought in 2020, and they didn't execute their business model. And so they're screwed. A lot of these owners right now are selling because they did not do what they said they're going to do. And now they are in a pinch. And then Stacy and I are going to come bring those deals to you guys and negotiate them well. So not only you buy them well in the forefront, you structure it well so that it cash flows and also increases its value and price. So, I always talk about, Stacy and I are very, very big about action takers. There's two types of people. There's, we call them, there's a talking Tom, and then there's the person that actually does it, right? So someone who talks about, a big game of, hey, I've been wanting to buy storage. It's an awesome investment. I really want to buy it, but they haven't done anything, right? So that is something that, we want to speed this process up. We want to help you move the needle forward, find this right deal so that you can bring it to the table, either partner with someone and bring the money in, or you can go partner with, one of the students that actually has like, hey, I'm a doctor, I have money, and I want to invest and do this with someone on the team, right? So you can either, waste months chasing overpriced on-market deals, which you guys, there's a lot of them on there right now that are over 30% overpriced. Or you can join, the storage deal room, and we can kind of lock in your founder's seats, and we can kind of get everything started for you, and then starting to give you guys 3 to 5 good deals every single week. So all what you have to do is say yes, no, or a number, and then come to the negotiation table and then close that deal. So we've got 5 seats for you. We're very beyond excited about this program. And it's only going to get bigger and better every single month that we're doing. And so we want to take action takers, the people that are like, yes, I'm ready to go. And the believers that are like, hey, if I invest, this money, I'm going to actually do it. I'm going to take those action steps and take advantage of, not only us as 2 experts on a mission, but also our acquisitions teams to, because our goal is for you to buy your first one and then go buy another one right after that. Okay. So you guys apply here. You will look at an application, and then we read through all the applications. We meet you, one-on-one to talk about any questions that you might have about this program, and in depth, anything else that you guys might have some questions about. So we want to give you, there's 48 hours that you guys can apply, and then we will take, a lot of the calls next week, but we are starting really soon. So November 6th is the start date. And so we do want to get people onboarded. We want to make sure you have your 90-day blueprint. And then we're going to start giving you guys deals like right away and saying, hey, Bob, like, do you want this deal? Do you like this one? What do you need out of this? Right. And is it a go, or is this, a pass? And so getting really good at saying yes, no, or an offer number is what we want to do for you guys. So we're going to kind of open this up just for questions right now. And so you can apply right here, but we want to, have anything that has come up for you guys, over this webinar. We wanted to not only show you some of these meat and potato nuggets, but we wanted to make sure that they're actionable. And then anything that you guys have questions about in self-storage, because I know a lot of you here are either first-time buyers or just had a couple questions on your back of your mind in this market. Okay, so we'll kind of take them in a row. If you want to raise your hand, this is live, like we want to talk with you. But I get it if you're driving or in the middle of a couple of things, not a problem, but definitely put your questions in below. So Stacy, Brian said, when looking at a facility where there's some land to grow on, how do you decide how to use the land? More units, RV storage, covered RV storage, enclosed RV storage? I love it. How do you figure out your best return for the space? Really good question, Brian.
I went over that in my session, which was competitive analysis, right? So ultimately you do like what's called a feasibility study. And the feasibility study is going to show you what you should be doing with your property. And then also, are the prices correct, on the units, or what's your opportunity? That's really, it's called a feasibility study, but it's really a competitive advantage. I mean, it's a competitive analysis. And you're really looking at like what everybody in the area is doing and what is needed in the area. And then from there you decide. So you don't want to just guess. And there's a lot of people, I'm gonna tell you, there's a lot of storage owners, they just guess is what they do. And then they just screw themselves over. You don't want to be that person. You want to really be looking at what is the best opportunity in the area. And that's a competitive analysis. Okay.
Absolutely. And we do that for you, right? So we are secret shopping in a 5 mile radius, just kind of what Stacy showed. But we actually have our acquisition manager, call, right? So we'll call a lot of these facilities in that 5 mile radius, and then we'll also do a either you can use Radius Plus, you can use StorageTrack, you can use any of these other data aggregators to figure out what that average rate looks like, and then we share that with you with your offer. So you don't have to guess. You can actually see what the market can bear. But I've seen in some markets, Brian, we put in 67 RV, and it was RV and boat parking like straight away within the first 6 weeks on one of our facilities, and we did uncovered. And so we learned in that area was that people wanted covered RV storage. And so this was like a long time ago, but looking at it from a different perspective, that is why it's so important to do. And that's why I am very bullish on a market supply and demand matrix. And you learn how to do this, and we do it for you. But, my always thoughts are, okay, what is your area need, right? And then price per square foot, right? So RV and boat is great, but you are taking up more space, right? And so does your area need more climate controlled? Because climate controlled is a higher price per square footage in that market. Or is there a big demand, right, for RV and boat? And if there is, what is the best one for your business plan? And then you do that. So yeah, really good question. And then Tamira said, what could the self-storage transform? Sorry, what could the self-storage transform into if they are in desert areas that are not making any income? Okay, so I think of what you're trying to say is if there's land, right, kind of like in Arizona, and what a lot of people are doing is back in the day, storage actually used to be land banks. And so people would come in and buy certain land and wait for it to become in the highlight. Like a lot of Stacy's facilities in Georgia used to be kind of on the outskirts, and now they're in the center, right? And so a lot of people will build storage facilities in phases, right? So what they'll do is, and what we've seen a couple in our acquisition pipeline and funnel for our students, is they'll build 10,000 square feet. They'll wait maybe 2-3 years, they'll fill it up, and then they go do it again, right? Based on the demand. And so they've built out, maybe 4 of these buildings, and then they have some other space in addition to that. In order to make an income, so that maybe you are testing it out and not maybe overspending if that's something that is not in your ability to do. And then Stacy.
Well, and then I was going to say, and then it comes back to the competitive analysis. So I think she's asking, like, what can you do with these if we're having a hard time getting leased up. So it's like there's a lot of vacancy maybe or something like this. And the truth is that the way that the storage industry works is made the best marketer win. And when you're running a facility, you have to really understand how to manage it properly. And this is one thing that a lot of owners do not understand, and this is why they sell. And so you want to, like, if you're having trouble getting your facilities leased up, then you need to learn how to actually market those units properly. And it's really a lot of price, or is it location, or is it what type of marketing that you're doing? And so this is something that, we talk about a lot in the storage deal room. So if you do decide to apply, you will get access to the facility owner mastermind too, which is where we talk about the management stuff. Like I just had my owner mastermind yesterday, and we were talking about AI and how AI is used inside of like storage facilities. And so that's something I think, like, once you get in, it's you're gonna have the storage deal room, but you're also gonna have like the academy and the self-storage school. So you can start really learning how to do this properly, especially once you buy the facility. You make your money on how you manage it. And if somebody's vacant or they're having a hard time getting the income that they're supposed to be getting, ultimately that's because they are not managing their properties well. I mean, you should be running at like an 80 to 90%, occupancy rate. And if you're not doing that, then there's something going on that you have to figure out. And that's basically what the running them, or the management, or the operational part of the program is about.
Absolutely. And I think Stacy nailed it. And I always feel very grateful to be in the storage asset class, you guys, is because we are in the business of renting space. And a lot of people talk about laundromats and wanting to own car washes and wanting to buy, I don't know, a Menchie's ice cream franchise or anything like that. And what we like to say is that, having like going through this new AI revolution is that we are reverse engineering. We're buying an asset class, you guys, that has no toilets, no tenants, no employees, and equals less issues. And so I really want to focus on, you guys, no employees. Like, you know how grateful, like we're having a hard problem finding good people, qualified candidates. I have a friend that owns a storage, no, sorry, it's an RV dealership. So she is selling, RVs. And she's like, I have such a hard time getting people to show up. And they're just these employee issues. And so storage, you guys, we don't even need someone on site. We have remote management operations. And we had, like in Stacy's owner meeting, they talked a lot about AI and how we can use AI, you guys, to reduce our expenses, increase our revenue, increase our customer service, and still have a human approach to it always. But the biggest piece to this, you guys, is that we only need a boots on the ground in a call center, right? We have the ability to do that and also cash flow. So this is going to be a really big play, you guys, that these are a lot of mom and pop owners that are, Stacy and I talked to another gentleman. This is actually probably a good one for Ann, but he's in Washington. He built this facility. His family owned the property. He's only 30% full. When I had a conversation on Zoom with him, he had an engineering calculator that had paper in the background. And he would come into the office and he would sit there and he did everything himself. And it was a beautiful facility. But he had not a great website. He was not marketing. He was not increasing prices accordingly, right, as he filled up. And so therefore he was going to have a really hard time. He's bleeding money, right? So this is a perfect opportunity for someone to come in, right? We're going to put some offers on the table, and take over and buy a really beautiful new facility that we can fill up with operations. So just wanted to share with you, some things that I'm excited about because I want to manage my facilities from my home or wherever I am in the world. And that's my goal, is reverse engineer. Like, I want to own 15 facilities in 3 to 5 years and still have time freedom. And even though I'm scaling, I want to scale responsibly, right? So that you're still cash flowing and you're not increasing your work. And Stacy works 1 to 2 hours a week on a Tuesday. And that is the goal, right? Is to do that from anywhere in the world, to have more time, right? To go do what you want, when you want, with who you want, and still have a really good cash flowing business in the background that is running fluently without having to depend on a lot of these other resources that are going to become harder sometimes to come by. So lots of positives for storage, especially as we drop into this AI industry or market as we kind of explode into this next stage. But you guys, it's buy time, and the urgency is people are coming in. Like, banks are finding out, yeah, storage did really well in 2028 or 2008, and did pretty well right now. And now as people start to come buying these facilities, this is the opportunity to come in, buy a facility that doesn't have a website or one that isn't working well, and that is going to be, you guys, the juice. So Bob had a question. I want Stacy, to answer this because it's a really good question. He said, I'm far more focused on cash flow versus appreciation. Is that a good strategy?
Yes. That's the answer, Bob. No.
And
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, like, nobody on this call has the same parameters as anybody else, right? On what they want to get out of storage, right? So if you want cash flow, great. Just look at facilities that offer cash flow. I would say for the most part, like the way the industry is moving is that, like, in 2010, when I was looking from 2015 to 2020, there were a lot of mismanaged facilities. All right. There were a lot of mom and pops. There were a lot of, like, owners that had just built storage and it wasn't like a big thing and stuff, And so that's where you get this this appreciation versus cash flow. And then, like, from 2020 on, everybody was buying all these facilities what's happening now is people have bought the facilities and they've managed them to the point that they're maybe like 50, 60, 70% full, something like that, but they quite can't get it to like 90% full. And so what you'll see for cash flowing properties is you'll see like there is some opportunity in trying to get the facility up, as filled up as possibly can. But then you're going to have to, as a cash flowing person, you're going
Right.
to have to look at the competitors and see what the competitors are doing. And you have to be better than the competitors at managing the facility. And that's just like walking a fine line between like, how much money do I put into marketing? How much money do I increase or decrease the prices on? Where are we at in the economy right now? Where are we at in the real estate market? And all these kind of factors just play into management of the property properly. So you can do either way, cash flowing or appreciation. I personally, all my 15 facilities are all appreciation. They started out they were mismanaged facilities, and we stabilized them and double or tripled the value of the property. But we were coming out of pocket, and we were really managing them and like doing a lot of stuff to do with CapEx and things like that. That's personally the way I do it. But a lot of people, they just buy facilities for cash flow. And I'm going to tell you, there's every type of facility out there. We see every type of facility out there. And there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's just what is the best way that fits your goals. And all you have to do is tell us what that is, and we will help you to find that. Okay? That's all you have to do.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
And then one more thing, just to add to Bob's thing, and maybe a question here is like, Stacy and I, the whole goal, you guys, with Storage Deal Room is to give you good deals, but also to help you structure it correctly. Because this is something that when I bought my first facility, it wasn't structured correctly. And so what that means is you get the opportunity, if you are wanting to go cash flow, maybe you tell us that, right? If you want appreciation. And so just an example of this, you guys, is a seller financing deal that we did actually in Aiken, South Carolina. And this deal, this owner, it was like 45,000 square feet. No matter how we put offers in front of him, he wanted $3 million, right? And so, yes, was it worth 2.7? Yes, absolutely. We bought it for 3 million and he was okay with 0% interest. So you guys, this is a $3 million seller financing purchase, which reduces your risk, right? So you're not taking money out with a bank. The
Right.
owner is the bank. It has a 0% interest. And the reason why he was willing, you guys, to do this is because he wanted his $3 million price. And this was a 10-year balloon. And I want to show you, this is a perfect example of a cash flowing king property, because guess how much his loan was on the store, 40,000 square foot facility was $6,600. That was it. And this thing would cash flow
To the
10
moon.
to 12K a month times 12. So you guys can do the math, over 120K a year. It was a high cash flowing property, right? Because you paid a little bit more for it, right? And that is the structure of why we are very bullish, you guys, on getting seller financing deals out there, is that so you can structure it correctly. Now, what happens, that's one more thing, just because I love educating, is because another deal that we told our student not to do is this guy wanted a $1.9 million facility deal. And he wanted 1.9 million. It was really only worth 1.7. And the interest rate on what he wanted was a 6 at his seller financing. And it would not, you guys, you're overpaying for it, and it's not going to cash flow. It's not worth it. I'd rather put my money in a high yield savings account that makes, 5-6% based on that, right? So we said, don't do it. Don't budge your offer. So that's the power of having some experts in your corner, is you're going to let us know, this is something you're going to let us know. Do you want cash flow appreciation? What do you want on these deal fronts, so that we can kind of show you some of these better deals, because we're not brokers, right? That get paid on that commission. We want to actually help you cross the finish line, right? Because that is what the Storage Deal Room is set up like. So, I hope that helped. Stacy and I have to jump to another call just because we're already late on this. But I hope you guys this was helpful. Our goal is, we want to help you buy your first, your second, and your third storage facility and making it more accessible for you guys. And so make sure to apply. If you apply in the next 48 hours, you guys get that bonus tacked into it as well as being a co-founder. We are beyond thrilled to start November 6th. We already have like 21 storage deals in the container ready to go. We're waiting for buyers. And so it is buy time, it's go time while people put their pencils down during, Christmas time and the holidays. I'm getting calls right and left, people saying I made too much money, right, this year. I've got 250K that I need to spend in order to offset X, right? So there's a lot of opportunity right now on the table to take advantage of before we even start to get into 2026. So I always say, don't wait, be an action taker, and take advantage of those opportunities. So have a wonderful rest of your day. We look forward to looking at the applications, and we will talk with you guys later. Okay. Have a great,
Thanks.
wonderful day. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
So great. See ya.